Hi, and welcome to Haunted AF, the podcast of real ghost stories told by real people. We are your hosts. I'm Julie Fisk.
And I'm Rebecca Black.
And coming up, we have so many haunted houses.
Yay.
So many. Also the story of Miss Boo.
Miss Boo.
And we'll introduce you to the Alma Nightwalker of Nebraska, who apparently makes a lovely tea.
How nice. This episode of Haunted AF is brought to you by Night of the Living Podcast. Ooh. That will never get old. It will.
To us, it
won't,
yeah.
but to everybody else, we apologize because you got another month of it coming.
Sorry.
That is at Texas Live, October 1st. We're going to launch into the Halloween season with a live episode. So put on your costume or not and get ready to have some scary fun.
Yeah, and you can get tickets at hauntedaf.com or at texaslive.com. That's texas-live.com. And if you want to share a story with us while we're taping out there, please let us know in advance. Also, this is a 21 and up party.
Oh,
so
important information
yeah,
there.
you can't bring your kids. Sorry,
Nope.
because we do have a lot of littles who listen with you guys, and we'd love to plan a party with them sometime. Just not this one.
Yeah.
That's the Night of the Living podcast. October 1st with Haunted AF and Texas Live.
Before we get to the stories, we do need to thank Princess Gwendolyn.
Ooh,
love you,
goodness.
lady. Should we bow?
Oh,
Hello, Princess Gwendolyn.
Hello.
Princess Gwendolyn. Thank you for becoming, we're so nerdy. Thank you for becoming an annual patron. She now has access to over 5 years of exclusive content. Plus, she gets the episodes early and ad-free. One of our haunted houses this week has so many stories that we had to share some of them in the pregame, which is only available to patrons. You can become one, just $5 a month. That's patreon.com/hauntedaf.
Okay. Damn it. Okay, y'all, you're just going to be hearing my cat. She wants to say something now. So JoJo's going to get on the microphone. She's going to come stomping all through here.
I hope she presses a button on the roadcaster.
I hope she doesn't. Okay, jumping into the stories. This one comes from Pete, who says, "Hey ladies, I discovered your podcast pretty recently and have been binging on it while doing the dishes. Great stuff. I love it. I have two stories for you. First of all, my mom died back in 2018. My brother and I lived hundreds of miles away from her, and while we were able to visit just before she passed, we couldn't be there for her final night. My stepdad, however, told us about it a few days later. Mom wasn't religious at all, and she scoffed at the idea of an afterlife. But sitting up in her hospital bed, she asked my stepdad to move his jacket, which he had tossed into a chair nearby. He thought that was an odd request, but moved it. Then she asked the nurse to bring her a wheelchair, and my stepdad half-jokingly asked where she was planning on going. She pointed to the corner of the room and said, "It's for them." There was, of course, nobody there. A little later, after visiting hours were ending and my dad was getting ready to leave, he told her goodnight and said he would see her first thing in the morning. But she very matter-of-factly said, "Oh, I won't be here in the morning."
Oh my gosh.
Again, half-jokingly, he asked where she was planning on going. And again, she pointed to the same empty corner and said, "With them." And she passed later that night.
Oh,
I know, Mom. My second story is a little more uplifting. When my wife became pregnant, I would go downstairs in the morning to make her breakfast. You're a keeper.
What a nice hubby.
That's really nice. One morning early on, I noticed two blue scrub jays perched on our back fence. We had a few regular birds in our yard, but I had never seen these two before. Throughout my wife's entire pregnancy, every single day, one or both of these little blue scrub jays were in our yard. They would be there in the morning watching me make breakfast, and throughout the day, they would be hanging out on our fence or hopping around in the bushes. Finally, after 36 weeks, my wife gave birth to two beautiful twin boys.
Aww.
Since that day, we've had all the usual birds in our yard, but the two blue scrub jays never appeared again, and I've never seen another one. I still jokingly ask my boys if they remember when they were birds, and they just roll their eyes. Keep up the awesome podcast, Pete.
They were checking out the scene to see if that's where they wanted to end up.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I remember when I was pregnant with Lucy, we had a Bob White that would walk around our neighborhood, literally just walking around by himself. And they'd do that really cool little like call, you know? In fact, all the neighbors would walk around the neighborhood and call it because then he'd come out to you, which is really sad because he probably thought he was going to get laid.
Right.
I know, but I remember I was pregnant with Lucy and one day I saw him walking into the woods and I was like, "Bob, don't go in there. You're going to get eaten."
Yeah, Bob,
you know?
it's bad.
And I didn't see him again after that, but then Lucy was born. So
maybe Lucy's Bob.
Maybe Lucy's Bob.
I love that.
I'm
I actually have a bird story too.
Tell us.
I have been seeing cardinals all over the place.
And you know what that means?
They say it's either a passed on loved one or relative and or something good is supposed to happen to you.
Ooh.
I've seen so many cardinals
That's
and they come in
really-
twos.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that crazy? I took a lot. I'll show you my pictures later. I took way too many pictures of the cardinals that I've seen.
When you see them, do you talk to them?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Okay, good.
I'll talk to any animal. All right, our next story comes from Aaron. It's always a joy to see your podcast episodes pop up in my playlist. Aw. In honor of the upcoming spooky season, I'm drinking some local tea while listening to you girls.
Thank you.
The tea is called the Alma Nightwalker. It's named after a specter seen tormenting men in Alma, Nebraska. So, in honor of Aaron, we looked up the Alma Nightwalker so that we could share the story. The first reports start in March of 1902 when the people of Alma, Nebraska, along the banks of the Republican River, reported that an unusual specter was seen flitting about the streets.
I love flitting.
He's a flitter. Far from the lady in white we usually hear about, this woman was clad head to toe in black garments, spooky, with a veil concealing her face. She was silent and quick as well, seeming to disappear into thin air. She made her presence known to several of Alma's most upstanding citizens, which gave the stories a weight they might not otherwise have. One of the first to see it was the local newspaper editor, Horace Stanley Weatherall.
Okay, Weatherall. All of these names just sound like old guys.
Perfection. Are we in a film noir movie, maybe?
Yeah, it feels like an episode of Drunk History.
Yes.
It's like Horace Stanley Weatherall.
So, working late one night at the newspaper office, he looked up to see the figure glide past his window. Then State Congressman Ashton Schallenberger, listen to the names, saw her while in town for business, and the founder of the Bank of Alma claimed she breezed past him on the street, then disappeared right in front of him.
Nice.
Then Frank Grigsby, the local carriage dealer, and his son Bruce chased the ghost through the streets one night and watched as she floated through the body of a horse. That's pretty freaking creepy. One of the early scoffers of the Nightwalker tale was Wiley Schwartz, the deacon of the Methodist Church. Of course, it's a church man that's like, nah, we don't believe in this. He ran into her while leaving a prayer meeting one night. Locals thought it could be two things. One was that a local man was being haunted by the ghost of his late first wife because he promised not to remarry, but he did anyway.
Yeah, that's
typical man.
That's probably it.
Another story was that she was the ghost of a local woman who died after a long, painful illness.
Oh.
But March gave way to April, and reports of the Alma Nightwalker came to an end.
Oh, wow. So it only lasted like a month.
Yeah.
I think it was just a person. I think it was a woman.
Like, I'm bored.
Yes.
I need something to do.
Right. Or maybe it was like the new wife of that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of messing with him and running
she
around.
Probably knew the story and was like, I got you.
Love it. Thanks for sending that in, Aaron. Oh, get ready, Rebecca.
So I wake in the morning and I see my cat, and I realized he died a few months back, and I turn to my dead ghost dog and say, what the fuck? And I say, hey, 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 hey. I say, hey, dead pet of the week.
Classic.
We need lighters for this.
Yeah, we really do. We haven't heard that one in a while.
It was a good one.
Just a reminder, we still love getting your dead pet songs, your weird shit, any of those, and they do not need to be highly produced. We love all of them.
In fact, the lower quality sometimes is the better.
Yeah, we let, not saying that one's lower quality.
No. I'm just saying.
All right, so this is from Susan. In 1985, our family moved into an old farmhouse about a half mile off the road. There was a pasture and hills and a pond right outside the back door. On our first day, a cat showed up. Pretty little Calico. She was just there in the house when we moved in. She would come in and go out of the house as she pleased, and we never figured out how she did it. In 23 years, I never found her entry point, so we called her Miss Boo. She was a sweetheart, a mouse and a snake killer, and she had her own cushion to sleep on. Aww. In fact, Miss Boo was the first cat my mom ever allowed in the house. It sounds like she didn't really have a choice there. One day in the summer of 1997, she didn't come to eat. We didn't see her for 3 more days, and when she appeared at the back door, she was yowling. Aww. Her front paw was massively swollen, a snake bite probably, and Miss Boo was gone before we could get her to the vet. Oh, so sad. We missed her so much, but not long after, we began to see a shadow, small and low in the kitchen, near the spot where her bowl had been. We would feel fur against our legs, and something the weight of a cat would jump onto our laps. We could feel it jump into bed and then turn around before needing the blanket.
Oh, I love that.
Sometimes you could even feel her purr. I guess she just wasn't ready to leave us.
Nope.
After I got married, my parents moved out. That was about 30 years ago. I feel sad thinking that she might still be there alone and wondering why her people left. I will send you some other things that happened at that farmhouse. It was very active, as were the woods. And again, that is from Susan. We need a picture of Miss Boo, because that is so, so precious. And you know, I like to think if Miss Boo was able to get in and out, she's probably out in the woods too. And if the woods are haunted, she's got plenty of buddies.
Absolutely, she does. All right, this next one comes from Daryl, longtime listener, second time emailer. We will share his old email in just a minute. In May of 2024, I had a good friend of over 35 years die.
Oh.
She passed in hospice in her home where she had lived since the early 80s. I'm the personal representative of her estate, so for several months, I'd spend about half a day, once a week, at her home cleaning out. I'd been doing that for a number of weeks, always alone without feeling any presence or having anything weird happen. Then, one day, I was coming down the stairs and glimpsed movement nearby on the main floor. No distinctive shape, more of a shadow moving swiftly. On a later visit, I needed to move a clothes rack upstairs. When I started up the stairs with it, the rack was too tall and hitting the ceiling, so I had to disassemble it. I removed the top half and started up the stairs again with the bottom half. I was looking up at the stairs and hadn't gone more than a few steps when I felt the back end being pulled backwards. To be clear, I was alone in the house and it was not hitting anything. Ever been moving something and had a wise ass friend start pulling it on in the opposite direction?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like I've done that to you.
You probably, I feel like you had, you've definitely done that.
In a scary place. That's what immediately came to my mind. My friend believed that death was not the end and that something came next. I figured this was her way of letting me know she was right. I said out loud, message received, then thanked her for letting me know and that she should go on to whatever's next. Nothing has happened since. There is an interesting postscript to this. This week, I had dinner with some of my high school friends. One of them is a social worker who spent most of his career counseling the terminally ill and currently works as a grief counselor. He was sitting next to me when I recounted my story, and I could see a smile growing on his face. One of my classmates asked if he'd heard stories like mine in his work, and he said, sure. Then he said that in group sessions, he'll ask everyone to raise their hands if they've experienced anything unusual in the days after their relative's passing. He said the hands come up slowly, but most of the attendees do raise them. Anyway, that's my story, Daryl.
Okay, Daryl said that he had written to us before, and it was this story.
Okay.
He said, this happened in early March of 2005 when the University of Illinois men's basketball team was undefeated with one regular season game to play. I have no connection to UI, not an alumni, not a fan of UI, or even college basketball. But I woke up on Sunday, March 5th, after a dream about the Illinois team losing.
Ooh.
I'd heard stories of dreams coming true, and this one was so vivid and specific that I felt the need to document it just in case. So that morning, I logged into my work email and sent the attached email to a coworker who I knew was following the team. That very night, the Illinois team lost after a 3-point shot, exactly how I had dreamed it. Yeah. The only other time I remember having a dream that came true was the OJ verdict coming back, as not guilty the first day of deliberations. That one wasn't as vivid, and it may have just been a good guess, but clearly nothing as detailed as the Illinois loss. And again, that is from Daryl. I love that story. I'd completely forgotten about it.
A haunted house or a vampire spree will tell you what it needs to be. In the world of dreams we know, all the secrets lie beyond the pillow.
You don't hear ska anymore.
Right. All right. We actually have 2 dreams and they come from Audra. Hey, ladies, love the podcast. So happy you 2 are back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I have a couple Beyond the Pillow stories for you. I'll start with the longer one. I'm on a beach with my husband. It's sunset. He has his arms around me, staring out at the water. I'm thinking, wow, what a perfect way to end the day when my husband suddenly says, welp, gotta go. I have to catch my train, and takes off running.
Dude.
I run after him and make it to the station just in time to see him on the train, which weirdly looks like the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway ride at Disneyland. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I yell at him, what the hell are you doing? He looks at me like he just noticed that I'm not beside him and shrugs. Like, oops, and the train leaves. Then I realize I'm in a dream and I wake myself up.
I know you woke up pissed off at him. I know.
Had to have. The whole day you were mad.
Yeah, that would be a tough one to shake. So DreamyBot says, This dream speaks volumes about your relationship expectations and a potential fear of emotional detachment. Your subconscious might be sounding the alarm and telling you something feels fundamentally off kilter. It's a message about boundaries, unmet needs, and the potential for feeling emotionally abandoned. It's possible you're feeling unseen or that your emotional needs aren't being met with the same level of consideration as his own commitments or desires.
You know what I am hearing from this?
What?
Put on your like trench coat and hat and follow this man around all day.
Well, it could just be he's like maybe being self-centered.
Of course, it could absolutely be that, but I don't like what DreamyBot had to say. I think he is implying there are other things at play.
Yeah, wait until you get into the second dream.
Awesome. Okay, the second dream is short. In this dream, I'm laying in my bed, looking at the ceiling, trying to go to sleep.
And this is Audra again.
Yes. Then a version of me leans over the real me and yells, "Wake up! Someone is in the house!" I jolted awake with my heart beating a mile a minute, then checked the house just in case, but everything was normal.
Okay, Audra, don't get mad at us.
I don't like that one either.
I know. Now I'm like worried that you're going to get mad because
Audra, this isn't us. This is AI.
it's AI. DreamyBot is
just-
saying this, not us.
Yeah.
So DreamyBot says this other you is a classic manifestation of the shadow self, the part of your psyche containing repressed desires, fears, and instincts. The act of yelling is crucial. It suggests that whatever this shadow self is trying to alert you to is something you've been actively trying to suppress. Someone is in the house isn't necessarily about a literal intruder. It's symbolic of an unwelcome element infiltrating your sense of safety and boundaries. The fact that it's you delivering the warning is significant because your subconscious is attempting to bypass your conscious defenses.
This is not good.
This dream is a direct call to attention, urging you to investigate what feels unsafe or compromised in your life. Sorry about that, Audra.
I told you.
Yeah.
Trench coat. Get your trench coat out.
I know. Sorry about that.
It's not our, like, do you really think it's that bad though?
I don't know.
I do think that yes, your subconscious will tell you like if there's some sort of red flag brewing. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything's happened yet necessarily.
I'm going to choose to believe that you've got like an ant problem in your house and you keep bugging your husband about it and he's ignoring you.
That could very well be it. I do think that.
Let's go with that. But
Love it. All right, so this next one comes from Alexia. Hello, ladies. I have 2 Glitch in the Matrix stories for you from a long time ago when I was living in Marin County, California. First one, a former boyfriend and I would take a drive every Sunday evening along the back roads of Marin and Sonoma counties. We called this our Frog's Day drive. It was a joke that there was this hole in time between Sunday and Monday, and if you found Frog's Day, you wouldn't have to work anymore. I like it. Where do we
love
find
this.
Frog's Day?
I need Frog's Day.
Same. So about 45 minutes into the drive, we saw a sign that said 17 miles to Petaluma. We decided we should head back home and took the next right. After a couple of miles, we came upon another sign that said 17 miles to Petaluma. Thinking the road must have veered north, we turned right again. Another sign. 17 miles to Petaluma. We stayed on this one figuring we must be lost, so we'd head to Petaluma and get on the 101 south from there to go home. This road did not go to Petaluma. It took us to the 101 south about 2 exits from home, which was about 17 miles from Petaluma. What the actual hell? That would have driven me crazy.
Yeah.
Second story, we were driving north along the west side of San Pablo Bay around sunset. I was in the passenger seat and looking out at the water. I noticed the sun setting in the east and asked my former boyfriend if he saw it too. He said, yeah, the sun is setting. Then I asked what direction we were driving, and he said, oh, the sun shouldn't be there. Hope you enjoyed these. I'll send my Dead Pet of the Week story soon. Much love, Alexia.
So I guess if it rises in the east and sets in the west,
Right.
But it looked like.
They were headed east, and it was setting in the east.
So what happened, Alexia? Like,
The glitch in the Matrix happened. It was setting on the wrong side.
that's really okay.
That's wild.
That is wild. All right. So this story is from Candy, and she had so many experiences that we had to put most of them in the pregame. Candy says, I have a very old house from 1880 in the old Highlands part of Denver, Colorado. My grandpa came to stay with us for a while, and when he arrived, he looked all over the house. Then he walked outside and looked across the street where there used to be a fun park.
Cool.
Then he told us that he had stayed here when he came back from the war, along with several other veterans.
What?
It's a pretty big coincidence that we know the house had been many things in the past, including a tuberculosis hospital.
Ooh.
So we have a ghost that we always thought was one of the TB patients. But Grandpa said he knew of at least one soldier who had died in the house as well, so maybe it's him. We named the ghost Owl, and we all saw him. My brother Sam drew a picture of him once, and it was exactly who I had seen.
That's crazy.
So my brother lived with us one summer and would find his things thrown all over his room every morning. One day, my husband was working in our basement and had a big door in the floor open so he could go underground. I'm assuming she means like a root cellar or maybe like a storm shelter. Well, my daughter was about 2 years old by then and was standing with me. I was trying to keep her away from the hole when I lost my balance and fell backwards into it. Something literally caught me and threw me back out. I was so shocked I started crying. And my little girl, who barely spoke at all at that point, said, "Mama, your angel did that."
Oh my gosh.
I have no idea if it was an angel or a ghost, but it was an incredible experience. I finally saged and salted and asked Al to please just be quiet, and he has. But sometimes I'll still ask him to do a little something to show me that he's still there.
That's cute.
And he will.
Aw.
Like there's a cord that hangs from the ceiling light in our back room, and the chain will start going in circles on its own. I suppose that would be a good thing to try to get on video.
Yes.
And again, that's from Candy. Yes, Candy, absolutely.
Please get that on video. I just love that she's like, every now and then just say hi.
Yeah, I
That's
just
cute.
want to check in, make sure you're cool, Al.
Appreciate you helping me in the hole. All right, one more time, we got to say thanks to our sponsor, Texas Live, who is hosting our Night of the Living podcast. That is in Arlington on October 1st. Costumes aren't required, but it would be a really good chance to test drive the one you're planning on, or maybe reuse the one from last year. And we're going to tape a live episode while we're out there so you can see how we make the sausage, so to speak. Get those tickets now at hauntedaf.com.
Before we go, we had to say thanks to Kit and Rory from This Paranormal Life.
Yes. They are wonderful.
Yeah, they met up with us in Dallas during their North American tour, and they are just the cutest things. But I really think there were probably a couple of times during our outing that they thought we were going to kill them.
Yeah, and there's one in particular where you drove into like an abandoned place.
Yeah, I was trying to...
We're trying to get on the highway somewhere, and then ended up nowhere.
I literally exited into a construction zone.
Yeah, like nothing.
I mean, driving in Dallas is kind of bonkers anyhow,
True.
but when you're like talking and you got a carload of people and we're all just like, and I got to say with those guys, it was exactly like you'd hope it would be. Like they're just that nice.
Yes.
And when you're with them, you're like, we've known each other forever.
Right.
You know? But I drove straight off the highway into a construction zone and I was like, I don't know what's happening. But then a little bit later, we were driving up 75. We went to so many places, guys. We're driving up 75 and a pigeon flew directly into an 18-wheeler.
I forgot about that. Yes, it did. It literally offed itself in front of us.
Right in front of us, flew into the 18-wheeler, smashed in its own, like it was
it
gory.
was bad.
Then starts flying towards our car and there's like feathers going everywhere. And fortunately it didn't hit the car, but it landed right in front of us.
Yeah.
And I think you and Kit were like screaming in the back seat. Or no, you and Rory were screaming in the back seat, like, what the hell was that? Because it was just feathers.
Like, we couldn't see anything but the aftermath. Y'all got to see the entire show.
Yes, Kit and I were like, what? And I told him, I'm like, I feel like you're a bad omen.
Or we're the bad omen.
I don't know. Because I had cut my eyeball before I even met
That's
up
right.
with any
That
of
is
you guys.
right. I forgot about that.
It was just a crazy day, but we had so much fun with them. I think they're done with their tour, but again, go check them out. That's This Paranormal Life. Don't forget, we need all of your stories: ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs, glitches in the Matrix, dead pets, all the freaky dreams that you want help with. Send them to hauntedafpodcast@gmail.com so we can use it on the next Haunted AF.